Hey, good morning, everybody. Let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. My name is Wayne. I'm the Chief FX Market Strategist for TradersWay.com. Thank you for being a client. Do these sessions every day for you. It's 7:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday. Today is Friday. Hello, yay. Soon we will, however, have non-farm payrolls. I'm going to do that live, generally the first Friday of the month, over at FX Street. So how you doing? Great. Wonderful. Almost on vacation. Nice. So anyways, thank you everybody for being a client to TradersWay.com. Thank you to Forex.Today for hosting us, and thank you for posting your trade plans on Forex.Today. Here's a little thing called Euro. A lot of this analysis, or most of this analysis, or almost all of this analysis is pre-FOMC. You can see this pivot here was used by bulls as a role reversal. Let's see if I can get in a little closer. Okay. And all right, let's get rid of this old trade plan. If you measure from this peak to this valley, yeah, we get a perfect 618 Fibonacci retracement as well. Or sorry, 786. But anyways, I think it's really the pivot right here, the orange line. Okay, if you're a bear, however, now's the time to prepare to sell. If I were me and I was a bear, I would expect this now. And you'll be entering fib wars because it's the battle versus bulls and bears. And you don't know who's going to win. Very often in that scenario, I decide not to trade at all. But let's say we 618 now, right? That's what a bear would be thinking, don't you think? What do you think? Right? Yeah. But that's the thing, right? The thing is, both of these are perfect entries for bulls and bears, and this is why if you're trying to figure out what the market's doing, by the time it's done it, it's too late. That's why you need to figure out what you're doing, because the buy is clearly a buy. Oops. Okay. This is clearly a place to buy, and this is clearly a place to sell. Right? And if you had waited to sell, you got crushed. And if you waited to buy, you'll probably get crushed too. So, anything on the calendar today? GDP. Oh, GDP. Thanks, Joe. Yeah. So we'll see how that comes out. Probably not as good as everybody wanted. Well, you know, we're talking second quarter. It's like, really? We're not in the second quarter. Okay. So there's that, right? Clear buy zone, clear sell zone. It's all good. Look at this time when people are at, like, let's do it. I can't, can I? I guess I can do it this way. So when the Stokes enters the trade zone, we're bouncing off of a pivot. Right? Pretty obvious stuff if you're prepared. So now we'll see if she comes down. And if it does come down, we need to get through support. And if so, it should continue. Okay? And anyone that bought it down here is going to hold for the higher high because they think it's going to make a higher high. This is just a random walk. It's total coincidence. Yeah, pay no attention. So a bull will want to take this north, and a bear is going to pay attention in this area, huh? You can tell because I already drew this stuff last week for you. So a bear would be thinking of taking this down to the central. Right? How do you treat a bearish engulfing candle off of the resistance zone? It's just like the standard operating procedure, the stuff you'd put into a textbook. Thanks, Shug. So for a bear, this whole area, just in of itself, is a sell zone. What else could we use to look in our analysis for a sell? Well, previous levels, I guess it's a little more than like that. Well, the pivot, Is there a psych level in here? Oh, it's 31.0000. So maybe in here. Okay. You see what I mean? So can we call this potentially a sell zone? There's a pivot, there's a fib, there's a roll reversal, there's a psych level. And of course, the strategy using pivots is that this might return to the central. That's how I came up with that. Okay. That's a 4 hour. Now what do you stick? Ryan says to buy low, but didn't they already buy low? So that should be done. Nobody likes to buy lower. So I'm wondering, are traders playing a double top drop? Is it time to bring the pound down? Well, it just comes down to a trade plan. So my Kiwi Swissy is now up 250, I think. Nice. That happens from time to time. All the way back, Jack. So let's go over basic trading and why you should be a bull or why you should be a bear. Okay, I'll use blue. Okay, this in here. Oops. This area in here is typically where a bull would buy. This area in here is generally where a bear will sell. This spike low to the S, but it's a monthly pivot. So right now, rangy. Which I'm okay with. Let's go farther out. Okay. So this is meaningful because the bears clearly did what they were supposed to do, right? There's no doubt. If you were a bear, you sold this. How could you miss the 3A2? How could you miss the M3? It's just unforgivable if you're a bear. Okay. And then those bears sold again here off the weekly central, which is a 50% retracement of a bearish engulfing candle on a 4 hour. So there are bears here. Wouldn't it seem? They sold here as they're supposed to, and they sold here as they were supposed to. Now to keep this going, they need to make the lower low, which means they need to decimate the bulls. We're probably all stinking 110, right? Okay. So there's that. However, what if this bottom holds? It's the bottom I did on the 24th. Let me get rid of that. Okay. So what if, just for the sake of argument, what if we start to see this downtrend over? At least sideways, but downtrend over. Okay? That's why this is critically or technically important. The higher black line. These are, you're talking about this? That's a 50% retracement. You can tell because it's connected to the FID study. 3A2, 50%. Right. So what I did is I went from, I was on the 4-hour and I measured the bigger time frame move. Then I dropped into a 15-minute. Okay. And showed you that it was a double top there. So it was by design, not lucky. And then you can see on the smaller time frame, it did a 50% weekly central. Once again, not a coincidence. But either way, we have failed to make our lower low. And we're at that juncture where it either needs to drop or it's dead. Just a little fractal geometry. I'm a genie in a bottle. Oh. All right. So that's that, Jack. So we got to pay attention. It's important, is what I'm saying. This drop should happen if it's bearish. So we don't know if it's bearish, but if it is bearish, we need to start looking for rollovers. So in this time frame now, you would start doing price action, wouldn't you? WWWD, what would Wayne do? Well, we know the support, we know the role reversal. It's been played, by the way. If you were a bull, hello, double bottom off support with a higher high. Didn't we just talk about this for like an hour yesterday? Boom. So that's already happened. If you were a bull, where were you, dude? Okay? So, if that fails, there's something terribly, terribly wrong with the bulls. Okay? So that's why we need to be witnessing things like a rollover here. Mousy mouse. There we go. So let's say we get a little spike up because the bulls bought where they were supposed to, right? They did their job. They did the 1, 2, 3 off the double bottom, right? Or in this case, triple bottom. 1, you're at support, right? 2, you have the higher high relative to this. And 3, you bought off the roll reversal. Okay? So let's say these guys get paid. Great. GDP comes up. Great. Okay? If that doesn't happen, this move to the downside is in jeopardy. Or at least you should become less aggressive and say, well, it's a Friday. Maybe we'll reset next week. Yeah, sure, Ryan. Problem is, it might wait till the 3rd week of September, wipe out all your expectations, and then do it. There's a tendency with these yens because like if you look at the commitment of traders report, you'll see the market will start loading the boat and then someone attacks just because the boat's loaded and everybody resets. So I'm not predicting it, but it's certainly happened in the past. I'm a genie in a bottle. Who let the bulls out? Who? Who? What do you think? Is it going to go up or is it going to go down? Yeah, and you can put your stop close, right? Either here or here. Can you see the power of riding the 5 on the daily? 13 years ago, I guess, that was something that we used to talk about all the time. Ride the 5, baby. I once did a contest where everyone threw out their name or suggestion for naming your yacht, and Ride the 5, I thought was a good one. Look at this, just like watch, like down to the 5, down to the 5, down to the 5, right? Down, reset, right? Down, back to the 5, down. Now we're riding it the other way. Up, down to the 5, right? Up, down to the 5, up, down to the 5, up, down to the 5. Maybe up. I'm a genie in a bottle. Gotta rub me the right way. Oh, oh. What do you think? Is it, Joe? I don't even remember anymore. What, off the pivots? Yeah, and that's the point, though, isn't it, Ryan? That we can completely disagree with each other on gold and both make money, both make a living. It's the people that don't make the decision. If I'm a bull and you're a bear, or vice versa, we could just meet at the bar today and say, hey, how'd you do? Well, I made 1,000. You only made 600, but the market went with me today. And tomorrow you'll catch the pullback and you'll make 1,000. I'll make 600, and we all laugh and have a drink. And it's everybody in the middle that just pays us because they're spending their whole time trying to figure out what I'm going to do, or they're spending their whole time trying to figure out what you're going to do. And there's no way that they can be better at what we do if they're always standing around trying to figure out what we're going to do, because by the time they figure it out, we've already done it. And that's why it's just a fool's game, just to keep trying to, instead of just making a decision. Right? True that, as they say at Harvard. Oh, wait, they don't say that at all, actually. Oh, did I tell you I got my grades yesterday? I got an A and an A minus. Yeah, what are you going to do? So now I've completed 10 classes at Harvard, and I have an A minus average. Yeah, so. Yeah, way better though. Wouldn't that just suck if you ended with a B plus and like, well, what's the difference between a B plus and A minus? Oh, well, you missed that one question in that one class. So, for example, I got dropped from an A minus to a B plus last semester, not during summer, last semester, because I attached the wrong file on a paper. And the guy's like, 0, you get a 0. I'm like, what? Oh, I attached the wrong section 5. That's the paper was section 5, but it was in a different. But I grabbed the one from a different section 5 from a different class. I'm so sorry. Here it is. And they're like, F you, it's 0. I'm like, oh, look, just grade it. I did the work. It's beautiful, right? Just knock me down a grade. They're like, no, F you, 0. 0. So I went from an A to a B plus. No sympathy whatsoever. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because the paper was named like Wayne McDonell, Section 5, blah, 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 blah. So, I was attaching it and I just went to the folder and Section 5, Wayne McDonell, Section 5, there it is. But, I don't know. Oops. I don't generally make those kinds of mistakes, but I did. So even though I did like 14 hours worth of work, they just said, F you clicked the wrong button, screw you. So, anyways. So what you could do, we're sitting here and it's going up. So just for fun, we can try it. and then you drop this, what, here? So you have two choices. You can put your stop here if you're a bull. You can put your stop here if you're a bull. You know, look at actually, can you imagine putting it under all those pivots? But just for, I don't know, just for fun. Okay. Where do you want to put your limit? You want to put it on the M3, M4, or are we going to take it north to next week's pivots? See, next week we also, or sometime soon, we get new. I think it's not till Tuesday though, right? We get new monthlies. Tuesday, yeah. So what are you going to do? Like that? And then when you get to the top now, let's drop back. When you get into this zone here, you jam your stop. And you get hero or zero. It makes a higher high, and you get paid, or it does make a higher high, and you don't. And if it just drops now, you pay the penalty. Okay? Should have been in lower. Should have been this dude here, actually, huh? Because, right? Can you imagine my stop would be at the same spot, wouldn't it? Oh, yeah. If you want to be with me, I'm a genie in a bottle. You gotta rub me the right way. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Okay, let's do it this way. And so what happens now if she fails? Then we start doing head and shoulders stuff, right? And how am I going to draw this? Yeah, I thought so. It's not what I wanted. It couldn't figure out what I was trying to do, nor could I. I was trying to envision if it failed, the new channel. Because if it failed, let's say, then it's going to come down, make a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. And, you know. So another way of doing that is with a Pegler pitchfork. Not quite there yet. So I'm just trying to show you the visualization doing different tools. But like insert Pegler pitchfork. It's kind of what we're doing now. But if that failed, maybe it rolls over that way. So it comes in shallow, but it would be a Monday right shoulder if it does fail here. Right, just imagine it does not make a higher high. Imagine that we're at the top. Now, maybe a double tops, triple tops, quadruple tops, pentangle. dodecahedron, dodeca top, whatever, but let's say it doesn't go any higher, then the plan would at least come down and neckline, right? And once again, we don't know, but that's what we call a trade plan. You're like, all right, well, if this is a top, it's going to want to come down at least to, let's say, here, and then you're going to want to set it up for here, and then you're going to want to bring it down, right? And now you're inside the lower pitchfork. Okay? What do you think about that? Well, what do you need the candles for? We're just analyzing. I'm not even looking at the candles. So I'm just trying to it's gonna roll over. This is an old man easing into a hot bath. It's right, so it's predicting a flat rollover, flat reversal. Oh yeah. Oh, all those lines, meaning there's too many lines? Really? Well, see, here's the thing. I've been trading so long, I only see what I'm looking at. So yeah, I guess there's a lot of lines, but it's not confusing me at all because I'm only looking at what I'm looking. And plus, we're not trading; we're analyzing. I can't trade unless I've done the analysis, right? So I'm looking at it like, all right, I'm already long and strong. I already got my stop placed. I got a limit placed. So this is done. Great. So plan B is, what do I do if this fails? What will it mean to not just the trade I'm in? Like, who cares? I'm already done that trade. I just don't know if I'm going to make money or not. It doesn't matter. So now I'm moving on to the next thing. So if it does fail, what does that mean? Well, if it, so we start looking at it. Well, if we get into a scenario like this, then we have a new channel. We have a rollover. It's not going to roll over quickly. It's not going to be a sharp reversal. It's going to be a flat reversal. Okay, good. So how would I put that in, and how does that time with the weeklies and the monthlies, which of course are going to change next week anyways? So then all of a sudden, then I look at those. Oh, all right. So I got to remind myself I got some monthlies here that are important. Okay. And it's Friday, so they're practically done. So anyway, so I look at that and I get it all set in my brain. All right, should go up, might go up. I want it to go up because I've already got a trade asking it to go up. Great. Then plan B is a flat reversal. So now I can change the template, and I can go into a smaller time frame. So I can do anything you want. Okay, and if that's clean to you, then cool, because I can trade this just as well, not a problem. But the other stuff doesn't confuse me. I'm just doing my analysis, right? So for example, looking at it this way, I would say it's going to make a higher high based on nothing more than price action. So if it does this now, the price action has changed. Okay? No, but see, I'm not even looking at price, James. Why is that important? I'm doing the analysis on a higher time frame. I'm only strategy. Price is irrelevant at that point. I'm only identifying support and resistance. Right? So if this now fails, now it's all about price. Sure. But you got to separate the two. If you're all price, then you don't see that what might be coming up. No, of course I know. I know what you mean. But I'm not doing analysis on this chart. This chart I'm trading. But I can't do this unless I've done the analysis. I have to know the support and resistance. I have to know the why before I even think about the how. Right? So that's where this comes in. So again, strategic first, then tactical. Now this would be a tactical move, great, but not until I have the strategy. So like you could just trade this way on pure price action. Up, no. Great. But you'll inevitably make one too many trades. So you could end up like shorting here, and then you realize, oh, guess I should be going the other way, and up, and you could keep buying here, but then oh, it rolls over. I'm not saying it will, but like, what if this happened to be pivot points, right? So I'm just doing that stuff ahead of time. So before I even think about this, because now you can live on 5A crossovers, or you could live on oscillator moves or whatever you like. Okay, but before I even think of that, I got to do the analysis, and I'll do it on something like this. Okay. Okay, because what the price action doesn't tell you is things like the reason this turn, or I wouldn't call it bearish, but at least the reason price stopped rising up here was predetermined 4.5 days ago. So before I drop in to start trading price action, I have to know what these things are. It tells me the why, not even just the price of this, which to a price action person is paramount, but I need to know why, especially when these things were printed for me on Sunday afternoon. And here it is, I might be buying this on a Thursday, or right, Wednesday, taking profit on a Thursday, buying it back on a Friday. Okay, but that's the strategy part. Right. So many lines I'm not trying to do to make it look complicated by any means. All right, let's take a look at oil. Can I say we said it would go up on Monday? It's still going up. Sorry, we blew through our weekly pivots. Sorry. So a pretty amazing coincidence. This is a monthly central. Even more amazing coincidence. This is a monthly M2. Even more of a coincidence. That's an S1, but the problem is it didn't exist yet. So all of this started here, right? What does this predict? What does it predict? Yeah, the sweet spot's nothing. I mean, it's a triple bottom on a support. I mean, it's nothing to that. Yeah, M2 would predict M4 by the end of the month. So we got a couple of days. It's hard to believe we're going to get through the cycle level of 50, doesn't it? But either way, the double bottom down here, yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm talking about this area. What does this predict? Yeah. So we're at 49 and change now. And this all started on our predicted bounce around 40. Oh, 42, 42. I think it was just 41, wasn't it? I don't know. Whatever. It's hot in Georgia. Anybody mention that to you before? No, no, it's not a dry heat. Yeah, well, actually, I'm the one that never complains. But it's hot, man. It's not Dubai hot. Dubai is usually 10 degrees hotter than Atlanta almost every summer day. But still, you know, anytime you're in the 30s Celsius, it's hot. Yeah, yeah. Cali never gets that hot. Where did you move to, Ron? Yeah, Shug's like 30 is cold. Yeah. Oh my God. How the hell did you do that, Ron? Ah. Yeah, well, Peter, I grew up in Saskatchewan. So Minnesota is where the weak go when they can't stand the weather in Saskatchewan. I can't take it. I'm going to go to hockey school in Minneapolis. Like, uh-huh. Sissy American boy. Yeah. Why do people go from Saskatchewan go to Minneapolis? For the cigarettes and the beanie boos, beanie babies. Yeah, yeah. Minnesota. Okay. So anyways, we'll see where this is going. This is creating inflation eventually, right? Yeah, go ahead and skip GDP, man. Yeah, yeah, totally. Just you don't need it. We'll do TTN on this one. I'm a genie in a bottle. Yeah. So when people start dropping out right before GDP, they need to make some changes. Can't blame them though. I mean, if you got a JOB, you got a B. What can you do? That's why you need to swing trade through all this stuff. And if GDP comes out freaky, it's Freaky Friday GDP day, right? And knocks you out of break even. You're like, damn, GDP knocked me out of break even. Was in it all week for nothing. Or it works for you, and you're like, damn, I hit my R2, man. Woohoo, what a big week. Oh, it was that GDP thing.
Reminder, a little more than 5 minutes now to this U.S.
Right?
data.
But that's why you swing trade.
Expected to rise 0.7% after rising 2% in the first quarter. The employment cost index expected at 0.6% after rising 0.8% in the first quarter. Preliminary first look at second quarter annualized GDP expected at 2.7% versus 1.4% in the first quarter. On a month-over-month basis, expected at 0.2%.
I think there was something solid in there.
Index expected at 1.3%. Personal consumption expected at 2.8%. Again, this is the first look at second quarter numbers, GDP.
Maybe it's me.
And consumption figures. We'll also see the Chilean Central Bank minute release. And Canada will get a GDP on a monthly look. The dollar CAD 125.38 in the recent low, more than 1 year low, and dollar CAD was 124.13. So we're about 80 pips off the recent lows in dollar CAD, which were lows going back to 2015.
Can you guys hear okay? TradeTheNews.com.
U.S. equity markets are looking lower. The S&P Minis 2465.25 down 6.5 handles. The overnight low was 2461.50. We see two-star support off of yesterday's wide trading range around 2459. The E-pivot up around 2469. We've been below that since Asia Pacific traded there for the S&P Minis. NASDAQ 100 futures down 0.75% off the lows, still largely being weighed upon by Amazon. U.S. Treasury markets are getting a lift off of the earlier low, 125.21, down 5 ticks in the U.S. 10-year. We're seeing better performance today in the U.S. bond market relative to the European bond markets after the stronger than expected GDP prints in Europe. But again, we are going to get this first look at GDP here in the U.S. in 5 minutes' time.
Did we do this like a day or two ago? I drew this before it happened, didn't I? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Gold futures getting a lift as well, 1267.50, holding just off the 1.5 month high for gold heading into the U.S. GDP figure.
Look at it kick off the pivot on the retracement. Oh my God, huh? Isn't that sick? That's filthy. How do you get filthy, stinky, rich trading Forex? You do stuff like that, man. That's how you do it. It's filthy and disgusting. So, I don't know. I mean, we got news coming out, and it's U.S. and CAD related. Okay? But what if it just, for the sake of argument, did like this today? You got to also be careful. And by the way, the projection, if you do this, there's only 2 counter trend trades I teach in the swing trading class, and this is one of them. And the prediction that it would go to 25.87. I'm sorry, it only went to 25.75. So I'm like 12 pips off. But anyways, that could be the end. So now we got news related to US and CAD. This could do anything it wants. You'd think we'd get a bad US number and a good Canadian number, and that would drop us down like monthly now, right? But that's all news related. If you were trading just technically, not fundamentally, a higher high begets a higher low, wouldn't it? But what do you do in the face of fundamentals? Trade technically? Yeah, sorry. Sorry. I forgot. It's it takes me an hour to do these things, but sometimes I get distracted. What do you think? 90 seconds? 90 seconds. See, now my agenda's hidden. That Wayne.
And now to the GDP data. Again, second quarter advance reading for the U.S.
This is a hidden agenda.
GDP expected at 2.7% quarter-over-quarter, year-over-year. Excuse me. GDP price index for the second quarter advance reading expected at 1.3%.
So you got it planned out? If it's pro-dollar, what are you going to do?
Employment cost
If
for
it's
second quarter
anti-dollar, what are you going to do?
Canada GDP for May expected at 0.2% month-to-month, 4.1% year-over-year.
This looks like a pro-dollar down. Anti-dollar up would be long gold.
Second quarter advance reading for GDP expected 2.7%.
For Chile, policymakers were split over the July decision. The minutes show the Chilean central bank minutes are out.
G, lay.
The second quarter U.S. GDP data in just a few seconds.
Oh my God, please.
2.6%.
Oh, a little hot.
Expected.
Most people thought 2.5.
1.4%. Price index at 1.0% is 0.3 lower than expected.
Here we go. 131, 131, 131, 131, 131, 131.
Expectation. Prior advised up to 1.9% from 1.1%. Core PC at 0.9% is 0.2 higher than expected. Prior advised down 0.2 to 1.8%.
Here's the up. Be careful of the up.
0.4 higher than expected year-over-year.
If you sell here, you don't know what you're doing.
Higher than expected. May GDP data for Canada. Again, U.S. headline GDP at 2.6% on the first reading for Q2 is 0.1 lower than expected.
If you want to trade with me, baby, you can watch and see.
From the GDP.
I'm a banker in a bottle.
GDP benchmark revisions going back to 2014. Annual revisions showing U.S. economy grew at 2.2% rate between 2014 and 2016.
Okay, this is where you got to be careful on your gold.
Just taking a look at the GDP tables.
I'm going to move my stop to break even now.
Housing investment, we saw a big decline in the quarter, minus 6.8% versus 11% growth in the first quarter. So a downtick in housing investment. Business investment remained up at 5.2%, but down from 7.2%, with a significant drop in growth in structures to 4.9% from 14.8%. Business equipment growth picked up. Federal spending did rebound to positive, while state and local spending fell into negative territory in terms of the puts and takes from GDP.
So it looks like I have $400 on the gold already. Nice. I'm a genie in a bottle. All right. Still playing around with this. Okay. Now remember, we talked earlier, if you're a bull, you already bought it a long time ago. That's why there's no reason to talk about it now, because if you're already a bull, you're already a bull. We're coming into the roll reversal area that I've already, I guess, I have the thing. So let's move. Come on, pig. There we go. So we already got this. We drew it like, I don't know, 3 days ago, 4 days ago.
In Italy reporting first half revenue 3.3 billion euros. Papa Lima Tango in Milan.
So a bear now needs to be looking here or here. And a bull already bought this down here on the roll reversal, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah.
Benchmark
But this
GDP 2016 personal
is your fib zone.
Lower from 5.7%
Okay.
to 4.9%.
It's also a roll reversal to the left. See? So that's why if you're a buyer, you need to buy down here at support. Can't buy it here now, so why talk about it? So now you either go there or there. Oh yeah, gold's moving, huh? $600 now on gold. Cool. Yeah, usually you have to work all hour to make $600, so that's pretty good. Boop, boop, boop. So this is a failed higher high on the peso. I'm going to mark this too just because we're getting close, right? Next week's the thing. We don't know, actually. Today could be the day that some people get paid, right? Do you think money will start moving? It's the last Friday of the month, but before the first of the month. Be interesting. It's a little curiosity. At least you got a weak dollar going for you, right?
And overall, we've seen U.S. bond markets firm up following the data. The 2.6% GDP was largely in line with estimates, slightly below the estimate of 2.7%. The employment cost index was also a tenth below.
I had it coming out at 2.5, not 2.7.
The
So.
U.S. bond market moved lower. The spread to Europe narrowing once again, and with that resulting in some selling in the U.S. dollar. The euro back towards 117.50, cable back above 131. So some dollar weakness. The dollar CAD has fallen to 124.62.
I'm
down
a genie
80
in
pips
a bottle.
now. Dollar CAD. The Canada GDP did on a monthly basis beat expectations. We've seen some strength in the loonie as well following the data release.
See? Somebody's getting
Gold
punished.
futures catching a bid with this latest move.
So if you're a bull, guys, if you're a scalper, boop, 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 scalpers, boop, boop. This is where you got to go ape crazy. You got to watch it like a hawk. Back to 131. Beep, beep. Right? Come on, scalpers. What are you doing? Are you thinking? Talk to me, Goose. I got time scalping. Right? If you want to be with me. Oh, look at that off the old roll reversal, huh? Oh, snap. No retracement yet. So if you're a scalper, it's one of these things. How patient and disciplined are you? Oh, I'm mostly disciplined. It's going to come down to how you want to measure it, too. Yeah, it's hard because it's like a perfect storm, right? You got two pieces of news, two groups of traders trading maybe even other things. All right, so this kills any scalp opportunity because you're not supposed to get 100% retracement. But stupid thing. Okay, but the bigger time frame wins this one, doesn't it? Right? This is the one we talked about before the news. It's now back below 131, 2.6. My stops are break even. I have no feelings, Peter. Yeah, it's funny though. Hey, I thought it was going to be 2.5. So whoever came out with 2.7 is happy, or I mean disappointed. I'm surprised just as much, but the other way. Boy, there must have been a lot of money sitting on that, huh? Sitting right on the 618. See, that means they had a trade plan. Yeah, I guess this doesn't work anymore, huh? If you want to trade with me, you will have to learn and see. All right, here's a role reversal for somebody. What do you think? Are you going to sell the dollar here or put it close? Right? What if you even did something like really close? Now it's like almost hero over zero right off the bat. I'm a genie in the bottle, baby. La 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 la. Yeah, USD CAD. I'm giving nothing back. It's just redonkulous, huh? Kicking off that little pivot. It's not a fib. It's wow. I'm a genie in a bottle. So, how does the rest of the world take it? The rest of the world as measured by oil. Well, we have to decide, does it increase demand or fall in the dollar? How could we possibly figure that out? Is there more demand for oil because the number was 2.6? Or is it simply the value of the dollar collapsing? How could we figure this out? Because if the purchasing power parity for the dollar, right? Oh, yeah, maybe it's this giant index. Yeah, maybe it's this dollar index. That might be helpful. But ultimately, nothing's changed if you bought it last week or you bought it this week. Ultimately, nothing's changed, and you're like, oh, it's still going up. Good. Maybe it'll hit my pivot profit zone before the end of the day. Absolutely, it is. Greenback guru, Peter. All right, someone's really struggling to figure this one out. What do you think the market's going to want to do with this? I think it potentially could come down. That would have been the plan here on Thursday, right? Because again, somebody sold here, and this is where their entry is, guys. Where's their stop now? Well, now you can move your stop above this spike, lock in profit. But this is the whole point of having trade plans ahead of time with, pretty standardized strategies. So you're asking yourself, if-then type statements, right? If this area holds, it'll go up here. If this area holds, then it'll come back down to here. And you're in the extremes. You don't want to be in the middle. In the past, we've talked about no man's land, where you're right in the middle, and you have two armies shooting machine guns in your direction. It's just not going to be good for you to be in the middle. So we'll see what happens here. It could come up. If this holds, then there could be some down. If it doesn't, then take the rest of Friday off. Whoop. I'm going to move my stop to break even. Actually, you know what? No, it's too early. I kind of like this entry. It's not a good trade, but I'm at a good price. I'm above 111. Yeah, honey, bring the bulletproof tablecloth. Yeah, the carbon fiber one. No, the carbon fiber one. Yeah, look at that CAD. Just hard to pick, man. Hard to pick. No easy price. And you wanna get with me? Not an easy pick. I'm a genie in a bottle. I'm a trader in a bottle. I guess I am a trader in a bottle, huh? All right, so I'm up 10 or 15 pips now on my USD yen scalp. So I think if it's going to bounce up, it'll bounce up, near 80. But my Kiwi Swissy's holding just fine. All right, USD CAD now on the pivot. Holy smokes, eh? Sure enough, here it comes. Oh, dang it. Oh. Yeah. I will just take a look at some yens just because you should. Gorgeous, isn't it? Again, the red zone's the predicted high for the week if the market's bullish. Ripper. Euro yen, well, looks like for some reason I had it losing some steam. I'm not right, but I wouldn't say I'm wrong. We'll see what happens up in here. It was predicted that we'd be at 131 on Monday. We were at 129. So even if we get to our target today, it's only 200 pips for the entire week. Pretty amazing, huh? Kiwi yen's in a roll reversal if you're thinking about it. Right? Look at that, huh? That's pretty. Right? You can put a little one here. Let us see. Now, because bear in mind, oh, you shorted that into the, you did the counter into the central, you were going for the central, right? Yeah, I get that. But, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, 2.6% GDP is not bad enough to like squash macroeconomics. So whatever has been happening, I would expect to continue to happen. Right? I don't see like an aggressive change in policy at the Fed, or they're going to continue to do whatever they wanted to do. Some of these I'd like to see some new pivots on next week, weekly and monthly. So here's the thing, Ryan, if you as an analyst see the market move and then, but your analysis tells you that nothing's changed, then there's a reasonable assumption that whatever was happening yesterday could redevelop again pretty soon, in the next minutes, next couple of hours. And that certainly by next week, we're just back on the same train tracks, right? The news came out and we just kind of veered off onto different tracks to let the fundamentals through, and then we just kind of work our way back on. It's not a given, but it's certainly something you can consider, right? That whole idea. So yeah, if you were a bear and things skyrocketed, well, what's your next level of resistance? Where will you sell? If nothing's changed and you were a bear yesterday, just because it's green candles today doesn't mean that's the end. You just identify your next level of resistance and be, you know, smart about your entry. And you like the fact it's going the wrong way. You like the fact it's mispriced. One of these currency pairs, I can't even remember which one, but there was one where I said it's totally mispriced. The market thinks one thing, but that's not what's happening. The market is simply wrong. I can't remember what it was. Was it Kiwi? I'm like, yeah, the market's just wrong. The market doesn't get it. Oh, the divergence in dairy prices and stuff? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so like pig is a good example. If you wanted to take it around, even though it's been up all week, you probably have permission. As long as you're below the 618, this is bearish. On the smaller time frames, like a 15-minute chart, that's a lower low. You're setting up the lower high thing. If you get it right, maybe it is doing something like this, down for a while. Now, a true bearish move on this time frame is going to need this actual move, right? Because then you get this. So my little roll reversal, I guess I should have jammed it up. It was so small. Be interesting to see what ends up happening. There might be another chance here, right? Three-wave correction, then back down. What is that line for? Yeah, there might be a little something going on in here. Just for fun, I might drop another little tiny one on and see what I could do. So you get the three-wave correction. And then down, but whatever. Well, I've taken enough of your time today. Oh, wow, look at that. Actually, a lot of your time today. So I apologize for that. Peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May our profits be above average. And if you haven't already done so, please open an account. Start with the demo at TradersWay.com. That's how you show that I've earned your loyalty and respect. And if so, I'll see you on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend. Remember to study your charts and have very specific action items that you're going to work on in the following week, whether it's your entries, your stop management, all that kind of stuff. Peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May our profits be above average. Cheers.